Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. Need an orthopedist? You go to Brock. You need a roof? You call Parish. Unique physique and unique aesthetics and wellness. $8 unit Botox. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and Boatcock Brothers Premium Cigars. Use the code MAT15, MAT15, MAT15 for 15% off your order. All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Well, how quickly things can change. We have a report up at LouisianaSports.net right now after ESPN was the first to report that Brian Kelly is suing LSU after the university has informed him that he was never formally fired and that they are now terminating him for cause, trying to obviously get out of paying him the $54 million buyout they owe. Now, I want to remind you that if you listen to after a further review or Locked on LSU or here on Morning Scone, you're actually listening, none of this should come as a great surprise to you. I want to remind you that the report yesterday about Brian Kelly and a settlement offer that was rejected. You remember that? Well, how about this on AFR? This was the day after Brian Kelly was fired.
Out a settlement. Would Brian Kelly accept a lesser amount for his contract? And that was presented, as I'm told, to Brian Kelly and his agent on Sunday. A lump sum settlement of his deal. Would you take a lump sum now, a lesser amount lump sum? And he declined.
Okay, that was yesterday's news. Remember? Oh, but I told you that the day after that Brian Kelly, that was the Monday after Brian Kelly was fired. Told you about the lump sum settlement that he rejected. And then
that Brian Kelly has. You fundraise the 54, maybe attempting to exercise the full. Some of you have asked, and I don't mind saying that there have been whispers of maybe attempting to exercise the for-cause component of Brian Kelly's contract, which would nullify the buyout. I don't believe that would happen, but maybe that could be used as leverage to get him to negotiate a lesser number. But all of that said,
I mean, if y'all just follow along with me, I'm going to tell you the story. I may stink at picking games sometimes, but I know what's going on. Although I did pick Alabama to beat LSU. So, if you're a AFR Morning Scone, Locked on LSU listener, watcher, viewer, follower, you should not be surprised by any of this. Again, that was the day after Brian Kelly was fired. I told you those two things. And I think this is exactly what LSU wants. Which is to muddy the water, to tie this thing up in court, to delay it. Brian Kelly gets another job. Potentially, it's mitigated. Ultimately, he settles for a lesser amount. That's what they hope. Now, I'm going to tell you, the unintended consequence of going this route that LSU is going is, and I'm going to do this morning after I bring Drew to school, I'm going to hammer out a Locked on LSU. I'm going to do a long form on this, so I'll give you all the details on it. Is what I know, what I feel like I could say anyway. Couple things. Number one is, as I said that day, the college football world is watching how you handle Brian Kelly's buyout. You gave him a bad contract. You fired him. You owe him money. And now you're trying to get out of it. That's not going to reflect well looking forward for the next guy. That's one. The other thing that I'm sure everyone wants to know is, well, if they're firing him for cause, then what did he do? I will tell you there are 3 things that I've been told that are what they feel is actionable. 2 of them are personal, and I will not get into that because they're private. They've not been disclosed and publicly. And so I feel like if I were to talk about that, it would be rumor mongering, unless and until that's ever listed publicly. I think one of those 2 is fairly obvious. If you remember when Brian Kelly, early in his tenure at LSU, he and his wife had filed for divorce. And then a short time later, there was the photo, I think, that one of their children posted. It was like, oh, happy family. And it was Brian Kelly and his wife, having a meal, smiling. You can arrive at certain conclusions there, but that's one. The other, which is the very public one, is the one everybody knows, and that's the Greg Brooks situation. So now I remember again, and I'm going to do a locked on today. I only have a short time here. I have to bring Drew to school. As soon as I bring Drew to school, I'll go to my office and I'll record a locked on. And I'll give you as much detail as I feel like I can on all of this to make it very concise. What were we talking about? Oh, so remember, on that Sunday that Brian Kelly was fired, Kelly's fired. Governor calls a meeting. At that meeting, remember, the governor's there, who is an attorney. Liz Murrill is there, the attorney general. Gordon McKernan is there. Gordon disclosed that on our show, by the way. So that's 3 attorneys. John Carmouche, member of the Board of Supervisors, also an attorney. That's 4 attorneys. And I will tell you that I know for a fact those were not the only attorneys at the governor's mansion that day. So naturally, what they were discussing, as Gordon told us, and as the governor told us on AFR, again, I'm not speculating, the governor and Gordon McKernan both told us this. They were discussing the buyout and what their options were. Well, this is one of the options they discussed. And it is my understanding, I am not an attorney, obviously. I do not have the answers to this. But it's my understanding that LSU doesn't have a strong case because you can't retroactively fire someone for cause. Again, I want to look at the contract, and I'm supposed to get it in a little bit. But there has to be like a period of time, as I understand it, where you notify the person that you're firing them for cause. Now, in ESPN's report, they mention you get fired, that it's for cause within 15 days. And so LSU's saying that they fired him officially Monday for cause. Yesterday, that's in the lawsuit Brian Kelly filed. So all of that is going to get worked out a little bit, but could you, if hypothetically the Greg Brooks thing, which is very public. And again, I haven't seen the lawsuit. I haven't seen anything from LSU notifying Brian Kelly that he's been fired for cause. I don't know. I'm just telling you that at the time he was fired, when this was discussed, there were 3 things I was told. 2 of them are personal, and 1 is the very public one that I don't mind saying because it was such a giant public thing and we're all aware of it, and that was the Greg Brooks thing. I shouldn't say the thing, the Greg Brooks situation. If, if that is the for cause purpose, well, that was 4 years ago. Can you fire someone for cause 4 years later? Or I guess not 4 years. That was early fall of 23. So that was two years ago. Two and a half years ago. But right at a little more than 2 years ago. That's the challenge. So anyway, again, I don't know that I can say a tremendous amount more right now. Because I don't really have a tremendous amount more. I want to get my thoughts together. Would Robin Hood Gold? But it's never boring. And I still think the hope is they would get Kelly to settle. For those who have just joined us, I'll remind you. $800K a month for the duration of it. Do you negotiate a lesser settlement amount? Some of you have asked, and I don't mind saying that there have been whispers of maybe attempting to exercise the for cause component of Brian Kelly's contract, which would nullify the buyout. I don't believe that would happen, but maybe that could be used as leverage to get him to negotiate a lesser number. But all of that was Monday after Brian Kelly was fired, by the way. And as for yesterday's news that Brian Kelly rejected settlement offers, remember that was yesterday's news? This was the same show the Monday after he was fired. Which is a good thing. There has been also this conversation about a settlement. Would Brian Kelly accept a lesser amount for his contract? And that was presented, as I'm told, to Brian Kelly and his agent on Sunday. A lump sum settlement of his deal. Would you take a lump sum now, a lesser amount lump sum? And he declined. So y'all just keep hanging out here. I'll tell you the story. Y'all want to know me. But I don't know.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish built. Parish built. Parish built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
Okay. I've not gotten any comments yet. Let's do that. We'll see if we can blow and go here as much as we can. Hey, Jacob, 22 degrees, 32 here. I ain't about all that. Hey, Tiger Poppy, Rocky, good morning. Beezy, thank you for calling out the fan base. We all want loyalty from players. We don't want to be loyal to a player. I get it. But at this point, let him finish the year. Yeah, that was about Nuss. And I always feel bad, man. I never want to be the guy that's like preachy. I never want to be the guy that's preachy and telling fans what to do or say. It's just, and I'm not, and I know people are still going to do what they want, but the point is Saturday in Tiger Stadium. In this era, I listen to fans bemoan the lack of loyalty from players with the portal and how the portal and NIL is ruining college football. And here you have a guy that is the antithesis of that. He's the guy that stayed, that waited his turn, could have left, didn't, could have gone pro, didn't, came back, wore the 18, team captain, all that stuff. This year's been miserable. And you're all, and not all of you, but a lot of fans are turning on him. And I would just be sick if in Garrett Nussmeier's final 2 games in Tiger Stadium, he's booed and not appreciated by the fans. It should be the opposite. Hey, Kelly. All things South. Can you explain the play where Michael Van Buren slide for first down? They marked him short. Never seen that ruling in my life. Yeah, so you're short, not where you come to a stop. You're short where you begin your slide. And Matt Austin did a good job on the broadcasting. It's where your hip starts to drop. So they review it at the spot where Van Buren's hips start to drop, and they ruled that he was short. By the letter of the law, probably a good call. Also, an awful execution of that call because that's what you want the player to do. You want the player to give himself up to avoid the collision, to avoid injury. He did exactly what you wanted him to do, and you go back and review inches. Not saying it would have changed the game, but in that situation, you were a yard short. You ended up with a penalty after that. You punted. So you were going to go for it on 4th and 1. You had the procedure penalty, made it 4th and 6, and you punted. Morning, Scone. Love what you said about Nuss yesterday. Sure. Well, I'm glad that's been well received, actually. Thank you. Yep. What did Kelly do to be fired for cause? Talked about that. Hey, Club. Bubba, good morning. Trying to fabricate a for-cause fire and not pay him seems like a bad look. Well, you don't need me to pull up this video, but I'll tell you what. Here would be my recommendation. That video that I was just playing, y'all, I'm going to go post that. And y'all can choose if you actually want to go watch it or not. But I think you'll find this interesting now with the benefit of hindsight to say, Scone kind of was onto some stuff there. Here, I'll post it here. This was from AFR the Monday after Brian Kelly was fired. The whole thing was about managing the buyout. I gave you all the particulars about the money. If you're interested, I just posted it. Go check it out. But that was one of the points that I made was the college football world is watching how you manage this buyout. You did a bad deal. You owe him money. If you try to weasel your way out of it, it's going to reflect negatively on LSU and potentially impact your ability to hire your next coach. That's the point I made then. Can you give me the layman's terms, Kelly's firing link? Sure. So LSU, there was on that Sunday, Scott Woodward, Burge Osbury, Austin Thomas, Julie Cromer meet with Brian Kelly to tell him he's being fired. Very cordial. There was no contentious stuff. He leaves. Short time later, Kelly sends an email. And we read that email last Thursday. I believe it was AFB who first got it. From Preliminary Record Request, where it was very cordial. Kelly's like, I understand your decision. Let me know if you want me to come get my stuff. You'd rather mail it to me. As for the buyout, I'm willing to discuss a settlement. It just has to make sense financially, right? So they discuss a buyout. Well, now Brian Kelly is filing suit because he was informed Monday, according to the report from ESPN, that Scott Woodward did not have the authority to fire him, which of course he does. And that because if he was fired on that Sunday, the time has elapsed to notify him he's been fired for cause. So they're saying now, hey, you've been fired for cause. So in turn, Kelly is now filing suit against LSU for his buyout. And this goes back to what I was saying in that video, which is, I think, again, opinion here, I think LSU is using that for a cause because if LSU wins, Kelly gets nothing. And if Kelly wins, they have to pay the full thing anyway. So maybe this is their way, after he rejected the settlement offer, to try to strong arm him into accepting a lesser amount. And if they pause payments right now while this is going on, and this gets caught up in court for years, well, maybe you're years down the line and you settle, and so then that doesn't even affect you in this current hiring cycle, except for what the person just mentioned, which is, does it affect the perception of you and how you're trying to go hire a coach because of how you're handling Brian Kelly? Hey, Abner, good morning. Thank God for the blessing of the day. Amen. 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 Yes, sir. Amen. Hey, Thomas, good morning from Chicago. Caught the Bulls Spurs game last night. Wemby is not human. That's true. He's an alien. Patrick, good morning. Raise your mug. Enjoy a cup of Joe. Blessed day. Yes, sir. Absolutely, Thomas. Thank you for that, man. I should have led with that. My apologies. I got caught up in the lawsuit stuff. Yes, happy Veterans Day to all those that served. My dad is a Navy vet. I know we got a lot of vets who watch the show every day, so I don't want to leave anybody out. But big shout out to everybody, all the veterans, the brave men and women that served, who afford us the freedoms that we have every single day. So I'll raise my cup of coffee to all of you today. So happy Veterans Day to all those that served. I think this is going to be a pretty common feeling, and it should be. Hey, Jonathan, good morning. Yes, sir. There you go. Patrick in the Navy. Okay. Nathan, what's up with GameCoin? That's on a one-way ride down. Let's hear that. Yeah. What do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? Yeah, ask me a question. I'm happy to answer whatever you got. Is the cause because... yeah, that's not really a cause. Billy, good morning. Brad, good morning. I made the mistake of looking at... yeah. I wouldn't do that. Haven't done that since 2008. And I know there's a lot of people that don't believe me when I say that, but I'm dead serious. I could tell you the exact moment I was like, I am never, ever coming to this site ever again. It's 2008. Jesse Brown, good morning. Christian Case, good morning, Matt. What are the truths of the rumors of us being lazy in the offseason? Nothing. That's that report. I was so disappointed when I saw that report. And I don't even need to mention the who, what, where, when, why, how, all that stuff. But to say that, to have it completely unsourced, completely unfounded, unsubstantiated by anything, is nothing more than spitting out a rumor, and that is very bad form. I was very disappointed a month ago, whenever that was. I was very disappointed when I saw that, especially because that person could have gone to any media availability where Garrett Nussmeier has been and asked that question to Garrett Nussmeier, or going to any media availability with Brian Kelly and asked Brian Kelly that question, and never did. That was very bad form. I was so disappointed in the person that did that. Professionally, nice. Always got along with that person well. So, but professionally, very disappointing. Brian, good morning. And by the way, that's not to say maybe he's right. I haven't heard that, but just because I haven't heard it doesn't mean it's that it didn't. But the manner in which he did that, completely unsubstantiated, not citing anything, anyone, and with the opportunity to actually go ask people that question on the record and to never do it and still to say that, was horribly irresponsible, in my opinion. In other news, the basketball team looks like it has potential to be competitive. This football season can't get soon enough. Hey, I'll remind you, I'm not saying the basketball team won't be competitive. And look, they went and invested in the roster, but they did the same thing at the beginning of the year last year. They were 11-2 in the pre-conference, blew a bunch of people out, had a nice win at Kansas State, 3 overtime win against Central Florida. I mean, there were some nice wins. And then, so let's wait and see. Let's see. Patrick, yesterday morning, you're right. I was wrong. My hope, not my fear, is the Saints will go on a tear. You think, yeah, man. No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Everybody wants the high draft pick. My point is, it's a dose of iron if people say the worst thing that could happen is the Saints start winning. No. So you're saying the worst thing that could happen would be the best thing. Like, I remember there were times fans said that about Les Miles, like, watch Les Miles win a championship. That'd be the worst thing that could happen. I'm like, so the literal best thing that could happen would be the worst thing? Explain that to me. So I know that's not what you said, but I would rather, like, the worst thing would be like the Jets, who have a quarterback that's not going to be their franchise. They just shipped off players. They're playing for the future, and then they slip up and win a game. Like, that's a problem. But if you're trying to play Tyler Shuck and figure what you have and get better, and you have a guy that plays well and you can win game, and now you're starting to progress with your young quarterback, like, great. I would love to see that. Nothing says respectability and honesty like taking your previous head coach to court not to pay him. Trace and Jimmy won't allow a coach to come after this debacle. That's the fear. I will tell you one thing LSU has going forward is that Jimmy Sexton, who represents Lane Kiffin, and Verge Osbury have a great relationship. So, but overall, I do agree with you. Brad, I saw the news. There was a snowstorm in South Bend. Did you miss something there? By the way, so my brother just moved to South Bend in May. So my brother, his wife, Kayla, and their 4 kiddos, my nieces and nephews. And Kayla, my sister-in-law, sent me and Erica a video yesterday of Anthony, their oldest, our godchild, riding a sled down a hill in the snow, like getting a snowball fight with his friends. So they're in it, man. It's November, and I mean, they had like heavy snowfall. And no, I do not miss living there at all. Brambo, let's see, BK's proven he only came to LSU for the money. That's not true. I'll completely disagree with that. Like, if contractually you're owed $54 million and someone is trying to screw you out of $54 million, everyone would absolutely take whatever actions you have at your disposal to secure the money you are contractually owed. Smart, Sean. Hey, Brian. Matt, just like the Saints quarterback situation, I think it's best to roll out Van Buren to see what we have for next season. I also don't think Nuss gives us the best chance because of the O-line. Both of those arguments, Brian, are sensible. They are. And I agree that in this offense, Nussmeier is a bad fit. There's no doubt. The offensive line can't protect. He's not mobile enough to make plays. I agree with you. And I agree you have to figure out what you have with Van Buren for next season. I would also say you've had, since the spring with Van Buren, to feel like if that's someone that you can go with moving forward. And I'm going to give Garrett 2 more games. He's a 5th-year senior. He's your captain. He's number 18. He's been here. Like, your season's lost. If you ask me, would I rather give Garrett Nussmeier 2 more opportunities to go represent LSU in Tiger Stadium, or find out what I have with Michael Van Buren for next year in an already lost season? Got plenty of time to figure out next year. Just my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, and clearly they're both going to play. So, by the way, Robbie, we have a story at louisianasports.net, which is free. I'll post it in here as well, where Lane Kiffin is actually the betting favorite. I'm posting the link in the chat. Lane Kiffin is the betting favorite to be the next head coach of the Giants. How about that? Yeah, this is right. Like, Brian Kelly's contractually owed. LSU signed the deal. Brian Kelly signed the deal. He wants what he's owed. That's right. Listen, and I'm glad to see this. You treat someone like this, good luck getting another coach. Like, this is what I said the day Brian Kelly was like in that video. I'm not going to bore you, but in that video that I was playing clips from, I said that. And I'm glad to see a lot of you seeing it the same way because it's true. Like it would be easy just to be anti-BK and side with LSU on this, but it is very clear. Like LSU is trying to weasel out of paying him the buyout. They contractually owe him. They wanted to fire him and not have to pay him. So they're using whatever means, but there could be ramifications to that. Okay. I got to go. Y'all have a great day. Smash the like button. See, like this also right here, this is annoying. This is a guy, and I don't know you, Blake, but this is a guy that reads Twitter and message boards and all that sort of stuff and believes the fan echo chamber. Like, there is nothing at all that suggests that's true. Nothing. But that's the narrative that you all have convinced yourself is true. So, anyway, I got to go. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Facebook like the page, share the post. There's a Locked On that's live right now for this morning, but as soon as I get to work, I'm going to record a new Locked On, a bonus episode with all the BK contract stuff, with everything I know. That'll be coming sometime later this morning. All right, have a great day.